Shopping center operator Tanger is seeing resilient spending with tenant sales up 6%. Joining us now is the CEO, Stephen Yalof. Steve, great to see you this morning. And Mike was just pointing this out in the break that 19,000 jobs were lost in retail. Are you seeing anything to that degree in your centers?
We haven't seen the impact of that yet. We reported a pretty strong quarter from both a sales and traffic point of view. So the customer is still spending. And, what's interesting, in our business, we always say that the retailers are going to put product in the stores where they see the most amount of customers. And I, over the past month or so, have been out in a number of our centers. We talked about Levis. We bought a new center, and the stores are packed with merchandise. And I think it's in advance of that very important back-to-school shopping season.
Well, are they still reacting to tariffs? We noticed that inventories are starting to rise again.
Yeah, well, look, I think that tariff pricing impact was last year, and I think the consumer accepted it. It was absorbed, and spending continued to rise. Now what we're seeing is a reset in pricing, but yet in our value channel, there's still a savings off of that new high in price, and I think our customers still feel pretty comfortable that they're getting the best possible value for their money.
Well, kind of the big macro impacts on the consumer. One, what Mike mentioned with the tariffs, and two is higher prices for oil. And some of the earnings that we've seen specifically among restaurants, a lot of the commentary is less traffic, but when they're coming in, they're spending more. And that might sort of relate to people making less trips. What about at your outlets? Are people making the trip less often, but doing all their shopping at once and buying more when they go there?
That's not what we're seeing. So what's interesting about the outlets, in the old narrative on outlets was, it was a specific shopping trip that maybe you made once a season. But we're finding that the population shift has brought more people, permanent population, to the markets where we have shopping centers. And in response to that, we've been re-merchandising these centers. We've been adding more food and beverage, more entertainment, things that are going to draw the customer, going to hold the customer, and ultimately get that multiple visit as opposed to that one seasonal specific visit to those centers.
What are your tenants telling you about their expectations for the future? And I'm putting this in the context of weak consumer confidence, rising credit card delinquencies, pay falling behind the level of inflation, and the savings rate going down. It all seems to be adding up to more bad news ahead for retail.
Yeah, look, NRF predicts that this back-to-school shopping season is going to be the biggest of all time. And you're right, we live season to season in the retail business. So that headwind that we're facing that could be something that the customer might encounter going into the holiday selling season, I think we'll see the retailers respond with better value, better opportunity, which is going to drive the customers into the stores and hopefully create more conversion.
By the way, you are or were, I guess, in a lot of the World Cup cities. I think 8 out of the 11. Did that drive traffic at all?
It sure did. And not only did it drive domestic traffic, but international traffic. And there is nothing more fun than being out in one of these host cities, like Kansas City. We have a big shopping center in Kansas City. And just seeing those customers, the international customers, encounter Americana for the first time. The things they see, the Buc-ee's or the Chick-fil-A's or the movie theaters or the barbecue, the things that they're posting on Instagram.
Did they drink the restaurant establishments dry as well? Did the Scots come in?
I think the city of Kansas City was pretty dry, but they got it back pretty quick.
You mentioned the holiday season. Is it too early to kind of predict? Well, I guess it's not, because the retailers have to be ordering now for the holidays.
Yeah, look, we anticipate, again, particularly in the outlet channel, it always seems to us that the customer, macroeconomic headwind notwithstanding, we see a lot of traffic for the holiday season in our outlets because we're showcasing the best brands in America, from Polo to Coach to Tory Burch to Nike, at the best possible price. So if you're looking to stretch that spend over the holiday season, they can do the execution in an outlet is probably the best place where shoppers can come and get the most for their money.
So historically, a landlord would probably just be collecting rent checks, but things have changed so much, especially with data, now AI-powered data, and I know you have a platform you're offering too. What exactly are you doing there?
Well, first of all, we're not an AI company, but we use AI to optimize our business. I think that's really an important distinction. There's so many use cases out there today that AI allows you to optimize and just make your people smarter, make your people more efficient, make your people better. But the biggest touch point for us is really in the marketing end, because what we find is that customers are far more likely to open up our SMS messaging, our text message, our email messaging, when those ads that we drop for them are personalized. So AI has allowed us to become far more personal. We understand who our customer is. If they've opted into our Tanger Club program, and we have millions and millions of people in that program, we can then go back and we can reward them for their loyalty, and we can hit them with advertising where they are, but more specifically with the brands that they want. So we're training them to open up the messaging as opposed to just deleting it.
Just really quickly, because there's this big debate happening now, like, does it replace legacy software? Could you see Tanger moving in a way that you get more native with AI, and maybe other services you've used from other companies, enterprise services, you don't need, and you can kind of bring it in-house with these tools?
Well, we're in the early innings of that.
Sure.
So we've already, we use a program called Yellow AI to handle our customer service, a chatbot that handles over 50% of the interactions with customers is done by chatbot. Now, if a customer gets frustrated or has further questions, they'll go to a person. I think what happens is that AI platform allows us to take a lot of that day-to-day, real quick questions off our plate and then put them in the hands of the professionals once they get challenged to a place where they really want some customer service. I think that's, for us, that's the first entry point into it. We're seeing such great success with that we know that the future for us is to interact far more than we are currently with